Hi, this is Simon from the Simon Westfall-Kwong Real Estate Group. Welcome everyone to our webinar and for Home Expo 2022. So we have lots of great information for you today, and hopefully you get to learn something and get some answer for all your different real estate needs. And we have all amazing panelists here, and they will answer all your questions. And I just want to say thank you to all sponsors, especially Guarantee Rate, John Lemkins, and also Acres Title, Pete Usolano, and they will be presenting today as well. And so we have a great session. So we're gonna start off with Shannon Aronson with me, and we're gonna talk about state of the market a little bit today. And I'm going to share our screen right now for 1 second. So, Shannon, are you there with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, great, excellent. So I'm going to just share a screen quickly just to show people what's going on in the marketplaces. In 2020, right now, those are all average prices up there. Between 2020, we have an amazing year, a great year in real estate, and then even it continued onto 2021. And you can see some of the prices from average price of 2020 to 2021. I won't go through all of them, but you can see the amazing value has increased for pretty much most of the town. I'm going to point out a couple of the key towns that really have amazing increased value. You have Short Hills that was increase of almost close to 12%. And then you have South Orange about 16%, Springfield about 11%. And then you have Chatham Borough almost 13%, Baskin Ridge 11%. And then you go to Maplewood almost 14%, and Montclair 12%, Mountain Lakes 15%, to Garwood, which is a first-time home buyer, at 20%. Those really are telling us what's going on in the marketplace today at 2021. And okay, also the limited active listing right now that's currently on the market. And also really the homes are selling really at rapid pace based on the days on market. So Shannon, by looking at this, what do you think of 2022 is gonna bring to us?
Well, Simon, I was chuckling when you said it was a great year because I guess we're realtors at the core. It was a great year for realtors because it was fun and exciting and people needed our help. And we were really able to add a tremendous amount of value to people because it is tough out there if you're a buyer, right? It was a great year in real estate if you were a seller. If you're a buyer, you really need us to sharpen our elbows and help you. And that's one thing we do really, really well on this team. For sellers, I always say to people, and I know you guys feel the same way, we don't want you to sell your house unless it's the right time for you. But what's very important right now for sellers is to understand their short-term, mid-term, long-term goals really, really well. Because if selling now is at all something that works with your long-term plan, I'm not sure we're gonna see this kind of a market. There are houses out there, they sell in a minute, as you know, and that's mostly because of that strong demand. And your slide with a town like Garwood, which is really for starter buyers, is so indicative of that, but it does follow on up to even the non-starter homes. The buyer demand has never been like this in our years in real estate, Simon. And so I think the important takeaway for people right now is that they need to think about the market and their own needs and decide what is the best strategy to take advantage of this current market or not. But if you decide not to take advantage of this market, if you're a seller, then kind of seller beware. We might not get back here. We might not get back here for a long time. And who knows when it stops? I do think we're going to see a strong season for sellers through this spring, unless something happens that none of us can see. But I'm happy for everybody that's on here because this is the time to be asking yourself these difficult questions.
Yeah, I mean, especially, as the industry is predicting that, for 2022, there's still increase in, between 8 to 10% on real estate value. right?
Mhm.
But then also, we got John Lampkins a little bit later on, talk about interest rate, what's going on with that. That may change the home value maybe a little bit, but, to see how the market goes. So for a seller who really, understand what's going on and wants to take advantage of, the market, and they're like, you know what, Simon and Shannon, we know this is the best time for us to sell, but where do we go next? Because they're looking at the market, where can they go? That's a really popular question today.
Yeah, it is. And I had a nice conversation with a friend and client of ours last weekend. And I think the reality of where to go can open up your heart to some bigger life questions. Because if you sell here and you're simply looking to buy over here, that what would have been a downsize is now a little higher. And, so I think sometimes you need to go sit in a quiet space and realize that to a degree, your life is a blank canvas. And then you got to put the things on the canvas that need to be where they are. Sometimes you need to be within X number of miles for a drive. Sometimes you need to be in a school district for your kids. But if there was, or whatever it is, but more than other times, I would invite sellers to just sit quietly and think, there's a lot of things I take almost as a given that I need to do or be, or geographically wipe that clean a little. Sometimes maybe moving, we saw a lot of people moving farther west to Western New Jersey, at least, bigger areas, slightly farther from trains, slightly less urban. Maybe that's for you, maybe it's not. But if you can ask yourself some bigger questions, it may free up all of your options. Now, if it doesn't free up your options, then what you need to do is be realistic about how far your dollar will go when you buy. And I know that the buyer's agents on our teams are very good at that. If your budget is going to be 800,000, obviously we're past the days of them looking at things that are 900,000. You probably need to be looking at things that are 720, 750, 760. We haven't left anyone homeless yet, though, and we're not going to start now. So if you decide it's the right time to, as a seller, to capitalize on this market, the most important thing to do is sit down and have a full, unhurried consultation with us so that we can help you brainstorm all of the options. And the market's changing all the time. There's new condos being developed. There's maybe geographical areas that you wouldn't have thought of 2 years ago that you'll think of now. But I believe that almost everything in life, someone does better than me. I do real estate pretty well, but not much else. So for all of you that aren't real estate professionals, take advantage of our knowledge and let us sit down with you and help you figure out how wide of an array of choices you're going to have on the buy side. It ain't easy, but we can help you with that.
Yeah, especially, you have different type of seller, right? You have seller who is empty nester, who have, kids starting in college and ready to go to move to even different, could be different state, or, could be back to New York City and all the different, places, or Florida or California. Then you also have, seller who, want to take advantage of this market, but they want to stay close by because of, education. So like, what would you say to those buyers, those sellers?
To a seller that needs to stay close by because of
Yes.
education? And do you mean even within the same town? Yeah. So I'd say something that I've been saying for a long time, which is that, more and less people want to do any work. And even houses that need rehabbing right now are hard to find. But if you can open your mind up to being willing to do some work, you're going to be much better off. Those houses that already look like, restoration hardware in all of our nicely staged pictures, those are the ones that are going to go for top dollar with, 45 offers. Though if you can open your mind maybe to some that are slightly ugly ducklings that might need an addition, that might need some work, that might need kitchens and bathrooms. Honestly, I don't love doing that stuff either. But it is manageable. It is doable. We can give you a lot of consultation, refer you to contractors that can help you do that. In John Lampkin, you have an absolute expert in terms of somebody that can help you get construction loans. So I would try to open your mind up as well about not necessarily needing turnkey beautiful, because that's where you're going to have the most competition as a buyer.
And then what about them as a seller that, you know what, I don't want to buy in this market. Maybe there's other option for me. So do you think there's like rental or temporary housing that they can go to?
Well, Simon, you know that my background is as a psychotherapist. So for me, nothing's simple. And I think the answer to that, again, goes back to having a really solid consultation, because for some people, it might make sense to rent for a couple of years, a year, whatever. It kind of depends on your life, right? If you said, well, I want to live in Milburn 2 more years, and then once my kid is done with school, I think we're thinking of moving down to Florida. I'd say in that scenario, it might make sense. There might be other people who say, you know what, but I've always wanted to get started with investment properties anyway, which PS, if you're not doing that and it's the right time in your life, talk to us, because you should be. But so then you might say something like, let me buy a place that maybe doesn't make my heart absolutely sing, but I think it would be a good long-term rental property. Let me put myself in there, almost rent from myself 2 years. And then when I do move to Florida, or fill in the blank, I've got a built-in rental property working for me in one of the best places, you know, on the East Coast. So we can help you analyze your own personal situation and figure out the best way to take advantage of the market. In some cases, I do worry that, you know, we don't think the market's going to grow like this forever, but every smart person I know knows you can't time a market. So if you do sell and decide you're just going to rent for a while, hoping to catch the market after it flips down, you got to realize that we don't know when and if that'll be. And if the market keeps moving up and up and up, it could move against you. So I kind of like the idea of a hedge in a lot of places. If there is either that midterm investment property that you could buy, or if you know that you're going to be leaving the state, then as an exit strategy, different story.
That makes total sense, having, you know, able to have that investment property working for you at the same time, right? If you decide to move in a couple of years. So Shannon, I know you wrote a book, you know, a couple of years back, that, you know, not to give your house away. What is one thing that you can say that, you know, that today for seller, what they should really do?
You know, in that book, I talk about the WENS method of pricing, WENS. It's not about what you want. It's not about what you spent. It's not about what you need. It's not about your ego. You can't compare what you got with someone else, because your ego gets in the way. People tend to do what I call best feature pricing. They look at their house and they talk about the best feature, and then they elevate the number. Your house has good features and your house probably has some not so good features. I know at least every house I've ever lived in does. So while we work with you as a team, and where you price your house is ultimately up to you, the most important thing you can do is listen to us, listen to the data we give you. Some of it's data, some of it's some anecdotal information. Try to take your ego out of it, or take out what you want or what you need in your mind to buy that next place, and be as objective as possible when you're pricing it, because the best way to take advantage of this insane seller's market right now is with razor sharp pricing. So the only people I'm seeing losing right now are people that are being a little too greedy. Would you agree with that? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we sell it every day. So I definitely, you know, 100% agree with you. So Shannon, thank you so much for your time this morning. And hopefully I'll see you a little bit later. And then we'll catch up. And
always a pleasure to talk real estate, as you know.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the team.